I'm thinking Muhammad in Jordan. Wow.
Wow, some awesome international calls.
Yeah, Muhammad, you're live with Eric and V. What would you like to talk about today?
Hello, Eric and V. How are you doing?
You're doing okay. How are you?
Caffeinated, excited. I've got humans.
Interaction.
Yes.
Very, very nice to talk to you, finally. I tried to call several times, and finally the call went through, because our line's a bit congested here.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for waiting on the line and calling in.
Yeah, I mean, just so people know.
Thank you. I want to say I think your show is very good show, and your show, it is very open-minded, and I think this is very important for the growth of humanity.
Aww, I got the warm fuzzy.
And it is. And excuse me if my English is not very good. I try my best.
You're doing good so far.
You're doing great. And I do just want to say again, calling from Jordan, and our last caller, dude, you've been waiting on the line for 46 minutes. And usually we have a toll-free number that people call on. You have been picking this up to talk to us, and same with our last caller. So we just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
So what did you want to talk about?
Thank you. Well, actually, I want to talk to you about my religion is Islam.
Okay.
And I believe Islam is the true religion.
So
it is the correct religion.
Just so you know, Mohammed, I don't have a whole lot of experience talking to Muslims. So you're going to have to be a little patient with me.
Sure, of course.
I've read the books and it got me nowhere. I tried reading them. I tried talking to people, and what I was able to get was very confusing. So, but I promise I'm going to bring the same amount of logic and reasoning that I can.
Of course. Well, first of all, it is the final, Quran is the final book out of the three religions, the Torah and the Bible, and the Quran is the final one.
According to you.
This is, right? Yes. So this suggests that it is probably the correct one.
Why?
Because it came to correct it corrects the previous two books.
But what about the Book of Mormon?
No, the Book of Mormon is made by somebody who is a liar.
Yeah, but people say the same thing about your book. How do we tell the difference?
He deceived the people.
People say the same thing about your book.
He deceived all the peoples. It's a made-up religion.
People say the same thing about your religion. How do we tell the difference?
Well, if you read the Quran with an open mind, if you read the religion with an open mind, you will probably come to that conclusion.
Did you know that Mormon missionaries, if you were to ask them that question, they have the same answer? They say, well, here's how you can tell. You pray on it and you read, and if you ask in faith, God will show himself to you and you will know that the Book of Mormon is true. It sounds the same. So far, I don't know how to tell the difference between you guys. Could you help me maybe with a little bit more? I know that there are supernatural.
But I mean, Mormon, he himself, he claimed he wrote the things himself. He wrote the Bible himself. I don't know very much about the Mormon guy. His name is something Joseph Murphy or something.
Joseph Smith. I'm Eric Murphy. Eric Murphy wrote the Book of Eric. Joseph Smith wrote the Book of Eric.
No, sorry. Joseph Smith, or so, yes. And it was recent, and he wrote. He was like a trickster kind of man, and he made the Bible. What he claimed to be the Bible, he wrote it himself.
Actually, he said that they were
And
copied from. He actually said that they were divinely
sorry.
inspired and copied from golden plates that were written by early people that were visited by Jesus. You have the story of the Nephites and actually you have tons and tons of peoples. You have tons and tons of miracle claims. You have wars. You have all kinds of stuff. I mean, the.
You mean by Joseph Smith? His name is Joseph Smith, right?
Yes, but he was visited by Moroni. There's a ton of stuff that happened. But regardless, I don't want to take away from you talking about Islam. But I do want to say that the evidence that you've given so far is the exact same evidence that I get from Mormons. And so if I can't tell the difference, then where do I go from there?
But you didn't read the Quran, and you didn't really look into the Quran before judging it.
So can you give me a good reason to? And I will tell you that I did. I really did try and read, and I read a good amount of and it was very difficult and I read a lot of holy books, man.
And also when you read it, when it is translated, because it was written in the correct language, which is the Arabic, and when you translate it into like another language, for example, English or something, it loses some meaning.
See, we're both
but
Christians.
that is not the most important point.
No, actually, it is important because we can relate. We can relate. We said the same thing about the Bible,
right?
As Christians.
And then the question kind of became, well, if this God is powerful enough to be the one true God, why is God stymied in giving his message to people by human languages? It should be just as powerful in any language if God is powerful enough and wants people to find the true message, right?
But God doesn't speak God language. He doesn't have his own language. He must speak the language of the peoples.
Why?
So that they can understand him.
I mean, could God do that if he wanted to? Like, if God wanted to speak so that everyone in every language could hear him at the same time, could God do that, or is God impotent in that way?
You mean so that he can speak so that everybody, so that he can speak in everybody's language, like he can speak, so that he can speak the Quran in Arabic and for the Arab people, and in English for the English people,
right.
And in Sri Lankan for the Sri Lankan people, and Japanese for the Japanese people, etc.
Well, actually, so there's a book that I absolutely love, and it only takes me a second. Hitchhiker's Guide, there's this thing called the Babel fish, and you put it in your ear, and no matter what language you speak, the other person just understands it. So what if God just spoke a language, but because they have the ability, everyone could understand what that God is saying? Doesn't matter what it was, just everybody could understand. Could God do that?
Could, I mean, because by definition he is very strong, and I mean, obviously by definition he can, like what in English they say, omnipotent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So by definition he can.
So why doesn't he? Which is
so why doesn't he? I think I see the point in the sense that it will make it easier.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I really wanted to
if that is the point, it does make it easier.
Yeah, if I really wanted to know all about Islam and convert and become a Muslim myself, but I only speak English, and if the Quran is written perfectly in Arabic, or better in Arabic, and loses some of the message when translated to English, doesn't that put me as an English speaker at a disadvantage and potentially not being able to convert? Wouldn't God not want that to be the case?
But there are so many people, like English people and American people, they all convert to Islam, especially now. Surprisingly big numbers.
Yeah, but I mean, so there's a saying: if all of your friends jumped off a bridge, would you jump too? I mean, just because everyone's doing it doesn't mean it's right. What if I were to say that the people are just becoming Mormon in huge numbers? Would that be convincing for you to convert to Mormonism? I think there's the highest.
If everybody started converting, let me think. If everybody started converting to Mormonism, no, because I think Mormonism is, sorry, excuse me for the word, but I think it is stupid.
No, that's okay. So the thing is when you said everybody's converting to Islam, do you see how that equates for us?
Well, I think his point here was to reference my question.
Oh, okay, I see. If you mean, okay, I see. So yeah, okay. So you mean to say if everybody is converting to something, it doesn't mean necessarily it is a good thing. So if everybody is drinking Coca-Cola, it doesn't mean it is good for you.
Exactly.
I like this guy.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Or everybody like watching Netflix like 8 hours a day. It doesn't mean it's good.
And also doesn't mean it's, so you can also say that about true things, right? If I got a whole bunch of people to repeat a lie, that doesn't make it true. It just means that it's popular. And there's a name for it. It's called ad populum.
Yes. I mean, you said this is about not the true things, but about the true things, maybe it is different.
So you think that the more people believe a thing, the more true it is?
The more people believe the true things. Actually, I remember watching you guys, you and the Atheist Experience, and you mentioned you and the Atheist Experience. I remember you were mentioning something which was a bit funny. They said there came a time when the majority of the people, they thought that the Earth was flat.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean that the Earth was flat.
Right, exactly.
Wonderful. That's that.
I think I know. I understand where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means that the reason.
I see the argument. I see the argument, how you're taking the argument, but I still want to come back to the point that I mean, the Quran is the miracle of the Prophet Muhammad. It is the miracle, like, you know, Jesus, he has the miracle of walking on water and turning water into wine and that kinds of things, and the empty tomb and rising, the resurrection and that kind of stuff. We don't believe the resurrection, by the way. I think we think it is corrupted in the books.
Well,
but
you know about the 12 labors of Hercules, right? That was a big thing that Hercules did. Do you believe in Hercules?
Hercules is the Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it is mythology.
We think yours is mythology as well, and we think the Christians is mythology. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not just against you. It's all religions where, you know, we look at those holy books and those stories and we go, wow, those are some great mythological stories.
Well, right. Back when the story of Heracles was invented, it was a religion. And some people still do consider the Greek pantheon, the Greek gods, to be real and to worship them. So kind of the difference between religion and mythology is just that mythological gods aren't worshipped as much anymore. So it was a religion at the time, and it's just because that religion has kind of fallen out of favor, do we call it mythology now? From our viewpoint, the idea, the stories about gods, the stories about supernatural events and miracles are valuable cultural references and really beautiful stories sometimes, but we consider all of it to be of the same, cut from the same cloth, of that mythological cloth. It's just that right now, some people happen to believe very strongly in certain mythologies. And our question in general for you is, how do we tell the difference between other religions that are mythology and yours, which you are saying is the true religion?
Yes. Sorry if I pronounce the word, your name. Is it V or Y?
It is V. You are correct.
Mm-hmm.
V. I'm sorry. V. Can I just one footnote?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if my friends and family see me on this episode,
Mm-hmm.
they will be very, very surprised, because I talk about this question. I am almost questioning I'm discussing the existence or the about Islam, and I am agreeing to discuss the possibility that Islam is. I'm agreeing to even debate the possibility of Islam being not completely 100% true, and they might not like me so much, in our country.
My
not
family
so free
also
as
would
in
not
America,
like it if they saw me. So
yeah, in fact,
so in America, I think I salute you so much for your openness.
And we do the same back to you, even though we're on a different side. The fact that you should, I mean, I can tell you when I was a believer, the idea God gave you a brain, you should use it, is important. And I've wound up coming to the realization that I don't think a God exists at all. But the idea of a thought crime, or the idea that you could be punished for thinking, is one that's rough, man. And we got to take our hats off to you and say, hey, you know what? We really appreciate that you're engaging. So cheers to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Eric. Yes, I understand that you should not be punished, for example, like you said, for example, thought crime. I mean, thought is not a crime. You cannot, thought is never a crime because you don't hurt anybody.
Oh, but that was a crime.
Thought is never a crime.
Oh my gosh. In my faith, if you so much as looked at a woman with lust in your heart, you have committed adultery. Like that was.
Yes, I know that from the Bible. I know that, and we have in the Quran. We have some things in the Quran, and we have also some things in the Quran. To be honest, and I also now I risk to be like I don't know. I'm not sure that I don't think many people in Jordan. I don't think many people in Jordan listen to the program, so I'm going to risk to be ridiculed. So there are many things in the Quran that I disagree with. Like for example, look, and they're very similar to the Bible. For example, like stoning of adultery. For example, we have. Maybe you don't know this one. If, for example, the wife does not agree to have sex with the husband can hit her. This is actually written in the Quran. I don't know if you knew this one.
I've heard of that.
So this one is not a good one, of course. And also, I actually also don't agree. Also, where the problem comes, and I watch your program, I see how you try to have the influence, or you have the idea of the separation of church and state. Of course, we have like the analogy is we have, I'm sure you heard of the law of Sharia.
Mm-hmm.
Sharia is the law of Islam. Now, the law in Jordan, it has some remains of the Sharia. So, for example, the inheritance of the son and daughter, it is prescribed by law, and the daughter gets half of the amount of the son.
Yeah.
And I believe it is not fair.
No, Muhammad?
Even though I'm a male, I will get the double. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Muhammad?
I think it is not fair. For example, for my sister to get half of what I get, like inheritance. Anyway, I'm sorry. This is just a divergence from the main issue.
I want to talk to you for hours.
Yes.
Can I? So if I put you back on hold to talk to our call screener, I would love to get your information to talk to you off air. Or
ideally in a way that is toll free as well.
Yes, something that we can connect with on the internet and have a conversation, because I would love to have this talk more in depth.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for calling in, sir. I'm going to pop you back in and ask our call screener to get information, something that will not put you in any kind of danger. I'd love to continue to have this conversation.